Hello, here is our last chapter of our CSCI 352 digital forensic. Okay, here's the last chapter we're going to cover. So it's related to the instance and then the intrusion response. So like when we discuss about this topic, so we're going to just mainly talk about what's the instance and then all those intrusion follow up as a response, like what should we do? Okay. And right here, so we will have go through something related to the disaster recovery. So no matter hardware or something happen, okay, so we have disaster happen. Now how can we do the recovery? And then as a follow-up, how about the evidence? Like once we are able to extract for all this evidence, okay, so how can we do the preservation? So right here, and then like as a follow-up, how can we integrate with the forensic to incidents response, all this together? So this will be our the topic we're going to cover. Okay, so when we talk about disaster recovery, so what is it? Okay, so it's mainly is the steps taken. So after the information technology or related disaster, so we need to restore like the operation. Okay, so maybe in other courses we do mention a bit like especially sometimes we in like cybersecurity we do have like risk management, so we do have some disaster. So no matter what kind of failure and then maybe some like certain attack. Okay, so all this related to the information technology. So then we have some follow-up restore operation. Okay, and maybe the forensic techniques like maybe like the best method for determining okay maybe what are causes the disaster and for avoiding a repeat of it. So it's like also because they in our previous lab lecture, okay, so we try to investigate okay different type of attack, or like how can we look into those like data, right? Okay, so actually if we are able to determine or sometimes like for the forensic is part of it as a follow-up. Okay, so we know certain disaster already happened. Okay, so when we try to dive deeper, okay, look into it. Okay, so what caused those disaster? Okay, or something related to a network. Okay, we say okay, related to the mailing. Okay, so all this, then how can we avoid? Okay, so this is a reason. Okay, and also it's the process that you can think and consider as a part of it, like for cybersecurity. So we can like for prevention. So we can for the process, so it always like begins once the an accident has been like discovered. Okay, so it always, if you remember the 0 days. Okay, so for 0 days, like we never know when it happens. So there's when it happens. But once we really discover it, okay, then we will start the process, okay. And sometimes we have to isolate an environment or like make a copy, okay. So all these, so that's what you know, okay. Maybe the memory dump, okay. So of course that depends on um um this disaster affected like to the maybe hardware, software, or other servers, okay. So it depends on but it's not like fully underway like until the disaster or the incident is contained. So like after it, so just like be aware of this part, okay? And then when we keep moving on, so maybe we have the instance like response plan, okay, planning. So maybe first in the place to respond to, okay, for the place for some like natural disaster, including the fire, okay, flooding, okay, or like hurricane, tornadoes, all these, okay, more like say with natural disaster, okay. And then when we move on and some like related to the hardware, okay, so let's say your hard drive and maybe your SSD memory or this like, okay, or sometimes we have the internet and network outage, okay, and of course like part of it when we learn like malware infection, so like infect your different type of system, okay, and or something happen is like a data thief, okay, or deletions, or somebody that stole your data spreading out, okay, or like you lost lots of data because of deletion, okay, and then next part is like about let's say the intrusions, okay, so also it may be all these like incidents, okay, so based on this that we have the response plan to think about, okay, so if we have the failure of hardware, then what's the response? Okay, we will design, okay, and we need to consider. So as the business, we need to think, okay, so right here, the continuity. So one thing is like we need to make sure and guarantee, okay, so not affect the current operation. So make sure the business they keep operating, okay. And then how can we report the instance that respond it, okay, and try to recover it after disaster. So actually they are working together. So because we have the disaster, we have to recover it as soon as possible. Then we can make sure the business is continuously operating. Like maybe it's the online shop. Okay, so maybe if you have some maybe hardware failure, okay, your server failure, then you have to like recover first. Okay, so make sure your business like go back to online. Okay, and then you have to report to a certain team and say, okay, it's really happened. So it's working like this. So after we complete this, then we'll move on to the digital forensic. Okay, so we'll be right here. So we're looking for, okay, what happened, what caused the disaster. So maybe we have to like make a copy, okay, of it, and or like is it related to the network, okay, internet, okay, or like because the server, of course, like by the DDoS, all these we can study. Okay, so the different type. And we talk about the disaster continuity plan. Okay, we have the BCP. Okay, so for this one, so we try to focus on like keeping an organization like functioning like as well as possible. Okay, so until the full recovery can be met. Okay, so still maintain the really like minimum service. Okay, can be provided to the business. Okay, and also we have the disaster recovery plan (DRP). So it mainly focus on like executing a full recovery. Okay, to make it brings back to the normal operation. So sometimes you also respond to like as an instance response plan. Okay, so IRP. So it's two. So depends on the way. Okay, so if for the business, is say we have to spend much more time, or like we have to shut down all the service for recovery, full recovery. Okay, but you cannot support operation within the time. Like, but for some business, if you have a downtime for like 4 hours, 8 hours, if you are running an online shop, so customer cannot check out for 4 hours, 8 hours. Actually, they lost and then lost their trust. Okay, from customer. All this is a huge issue. So that's why we need to choose a better plan, okay, to recover it, okay, and to bring it back. And in other one is like also when we talk about the BCP, so that's why we need to maintain at least like minimal operation, as we say. So until the organization can return the full functionality. For DRP, so it's like focus on returning to the full functionality. So usually need to know the key differences between this plan, okay. And there's not say absolute plan. Okay, we have to do it, but depends on the situation, the background, okay, or the needs of the company. Okay, so we need to be careful. And we do have some like some further standards like for the BCP, okay, and start like ISO 2701 or next 800 34 or NFPA 1600 like this. Okay, so just need to know there's some certain standards, but you don't have to memorize it. Okay, so just need to know good enough. And some more like this like ISO 27035, it's like 861. So right here. And when we talk about the plan, then we need to doing the analysis where which one is better. So we have the business impact analysis. Okay, so it's a BIA. So it's mainly this study try to identify so the effects like of the some like disaster. So we have some business or IT function. So we need to study like including the doing the interview, doing survey. Okay, so we try to have meetings, so on, all these like to need to study all these things, and then we can identify the priority of different critical systems. So we know, okay, maybe in this um business system, okay, there are certain operation supporting system, they have to make sure, okay, they have to keep always online, okay, and or some of them they are okay to be like offline for a certain time, okay, or like actually there's no really in high priority, like then based on this like priority, then we can consider something like called the maximum tolerable downtime, the MTD. Okay, so after we consider all these things, okay, so we try to analyze. So once we giving the priority, all the comments, then we can give a um better plan for the business. Like so are we going to do the full recovery and then it won't affect those system, or like no, that system have to maintain online, or say then we just like doing some like partially like functionality of it. Okay, so make sure it's like online first, okay, and then we try to recover slowly. Okay, so it's a part of it. And when we talk about the keyword, right, what's the maximum tolerable like downtime MTD? So it's the measure. It's like how long a system or the systems, okay, can be done, okay, before it is impossible for the organization to recover. Okay, so this way is really a key concept we need to know. And sometimes they can be like calculated by the mean time to repair, okay, MTTR, okay. So it will be the average time it takes like to repair an item. Okay, so maybe something is pretty straightforward. If you need to back up from the copy, okay, maybe from hard drive to another hard drive, and it takes maybe 2 hours, 1 hours, but something depends on the data size. Okay, so but we can get the mean time to repair, okay, or the mean time to failure, okay. So and that was the failure MTFF. So it tells like the amount of time on average, okay, or before a given device, okay, likely to fail through the normal use. So we can get the mean time to fail. So we can based on these two, like the MTTR and MTTF. So to get the MTD, our maximum tolerable like downtime. Okay, so we can consider. So after we combine all this everything together, so we can give in a recovery plan. So we have the BCP, okay, and then the BRP, and then the BIA. So you already know. So we always say that we need to do a business like impact analysis. Okay, so this is the BIA. So it's coming, and then we also have the right here. So we have the business. Okay, we need to look at this. So the different model right here. Okay, so all these that when we perform together, then we can comes up with the recovery plan. Okay, so based on this, like, we know the business itself and then the BIA. Okay, after we analyze it, okay, so and then we can summarize it. Okay, combine them to create a recovery plan. So right here, we may be asked some certain questions like for create a plan. Okay, so is there those that alternate equipments identified? Okay, so it's possible, or like some like facilities. So can we identify those like alternate facility? Okay, and maybe also we are looking for some this mechanism in place. So there's like contacting all the affected parties, employees, vendors, and customers, contractor, or like all the parties that involved. Okay, even some like primary means of like communication are done. Okay, so you're thinking, okay, we have a mechanism to communicate, like to inform all these like being affected parties, right? But if this like inform merger, okay, this commission method is done, then what happened? What's the better plan? Okay, so we also need to think about that. And do we have some like offsite backup of the data like exists? Okay, so let's say sometimes they want to centralize all the data, like say inside, okay, but in case there's some like let's say tornado, hurricane, or like fire, okay, then what happened? So do we need the offsite backup? So we need to consider it. Okay. So and then those like backup we need to think of that they're like ready like retrieve and restore. Okay. So how hard, like maybe you say those like backup data they just like store in the hard drive, and then they just like put in somewhere. Okay. If they need to backup, they need to go to certain location and bring it back and restore. Okay. Okay. It takes time, or it is always online. Okay, so if I need to like import backup, so I just click on the button, import it through the internet, then I can do it. So all these will be the consideration for the recovery plan. Okay, and when we talk about the backups, right? So we have different type of backups. We can do, of course, like full backup. Okay, so it will like keep all the changes. Okay, so it's a full backup on the differential. So this one it only save like the change. So from the last like full backup, so this one differential, okay, or the incremental. So we have the all the change since the last backup of any type. So we like it increase it when we add it. So here's the differences between these like different type of backup. Also, we have some like hierarchical storage management. Okay, so the HSM, so it can have a provide continuous like backup. So it's the another type of it. So a busy we talk about like disaster recovery, and actually for the risk management when we study I mean risk management for the backup is like and recovery is like really part of it, because like we cannot do like 100% prevention, okay, avoid, okay, or sometimes like we have no way to really prevent it. So let's say we have the hurricane tornado, okay, it's really destroyed data center, like, what happened like this. So and then as a follow-up, then if we have all the create the plan and then we try to recover it, then what's the post recovery? Okay, what can we do like after the recovery? Then we need to figure out like what happened, okay, and why. So that's why when we're asking why, then it involve the forensics, okay. We are not saying okay, let's back up and then it's okay. It's okay if there's some certain attacker man in the middle, like try to make your system like goes down, okay, then we need to know why. Okay, so was it cause some like weakness in the system? Okay, so if yes, then we need to like taking different type of strategy, like we enhance those like security, okay. And then was like some like negligence of by some like individuals, okay, or do they have like the gap in the policy, okay, great, or some intentional like act or something like that. So we have to ask some question, okay. So mainly is they're doing the diagnosis, okay. So diagnosis, investigation, all this, then based on different clues, and we can find the cause of it. Then we can as a follow up, then we can giving some other plan, okay. So or like prevention. So far, like you see all these like the steps, like is the instance response. So we have the containment in the beginning, okay, and then we have the eradication and then recovery and then follow up. So here would be the four steps, okay, the four phase like for the response. So we just like go through. So we just a summary. And when we look at here, the containments right here, try to like limit the incidence, or we can try to prevent it from affecting more system. Okay, so how we quickly, okay, so we know like maybe system A or being infected or like down. Okay, so it's gonna if going to spreading, okay, expanding, okay, then how can we prevent it? Okay, affect other system, maybe some like malware. Okay, so maybe there's a computer in the system that maybe the employee just like click on the button and then being infected. Okay, so they will try to connect to all the computer. Okay, so maybe quicker you have to maybe physically unplug the computer. Okay, the internet cable, or like maybe to the switch router. Okay, and this try to disconnect the connection first, okay, the internet connection. So this one we try to limit the incidence, okay. So try not to like affect more other system, okay. And then the eradications over here, so we try to fix the vulnerability, okay. We try to do like maybe quickly, okay. If we have the malware, maybe you try to delete those programs, and maybe they change the which endpoints, then we try to fix it. Okay, immediately try to fix it first. Okay, and then we can perform some like comprehensive like examination of it, what occurred and how far is that reach. Okay, so we can like get all this information, and also try to ensure that the issue was like completely addressed. Okay, so after we do this, then we can begin the forensics. So this is the stage. Okay, so like for us to investigate. Okay, so what's the reason? What's the cause? Okay, and of course, we can do it like also do the recovery. Okay, so involve like return the affected system to a normal stage. Okay, if we have the malware they being infected, so we try to ensure that it's like back in full working order, and then not like presence of any malware. Okay, so we need to be careful. Sometimes we have to reinstall the system, and then just like checking, okay, so maybe other system they're being infected, or restore, like recover back. So maybe need to restore the software data from backup. Okay, so this process we're going to do. So it's a recovery. as a follow-up, okay, so also right here, because we already start the forensics, and also as a follow-up, we can do it, okay, too. So it's a critical role right here. So they must to determine, okay, how it works, and like why it going to be like occurs, and then maybe what the steps that can be taken to prevent the instance like from the reoccurring. So it's like as a follow-up. We are not saying okay after we restore it then it happened. Sometimes because the backdoor of the OS, okay, maybe the backdoor of some application, okay, then we have to like fix it or like stop those like servers. Do we have any alternative way to do that? So it's like more like it's the follow-up, okay, until we fix it. And then we have some like preserving evidence, like we can say if there's an event happen, so do like this the events like have some like observable like occurrence like within a system or network. So can we see something? Can we observe something? Okay, or including some network activity, like that's why when we execute, we observe we have we using Wireshark or something, or like checking the bandwidth or this like slow down. Okay, so when a user access a file on the server, or when a file block the network traffic, okay, and then maybe the bandwidth stuff that so we can like see, okay. Also, we try to average like the events, so they have the negative result or negative consequence like this. Okay, maybe try to attack on the system, all this. So we try to preserving all these like evidence. Okay, so it's a step. When we look at some like security instance, actually in other topics we do cover this part. Like sometimes we have a DOS, the denial of service attack, or like the DDoS, I say, or malicious code. Okay, some like hardware restore. Of course, we have some unauthorized access. Okay, so maybe sometimes some identity thieves. Okay, or sometimes they just use those systems or like data for some in a project usage. So all this can be the computer security incidents. Okay, um, pretty basic, and I think like from previous course you have some idea, so pretty easy to catch it. Okay, and continuous and the evidence like right here. So for the recovery return, so we often like perform at the expensive of like preserving forensic evidence. And also we're thinking the failure, right? The failure to preserve like forensic information, let's say the IT team from the effective evaluating the cause of the instance, or maybe sometimes it's difficult, okay, maybe difficult to modify the company policy or procedures to reduce the risk. So all these will maybe cause the failure, okay, preserving the forensic information like this. Those days we have a forensic data, so it's a key to prevent the future incidents. So that's why when we start thinking like the forensics as a follow-up, okay, so all those like data we capture, okay, so obtain, so we have to like look at it and say, okay, in the future, how can we prevent it, like not letting it happen again? Okay, sometimes like based on this, also the cause like failure. So if we have some failure, say maybe is to it makes the evaluation of the incident is really hard, or like make it really difficult to modify the policy, then we need to like focus more on the backup recovery. So this one will be affecting the when we talk about the plan. Okay, so just like it might be most likely like when we study all this, it's a loop, like it's a circle. So maybe sometimes the course and next step, and then we go back to the beginning. So here's actually it's the loop. Okay, and also we can add the forensic to the instance response. So we can identify, okay, what the forensic resources the organization can use. So in case there's like some incidents, okay, it's really happened. And then how can we identify some like outside party can respond to the instance? So with there's a forensically like trained the personnel like this, can they help? Okay, some outside party, other third parties. So or the forensic methodology, so into the organization like incident response like response policy, can we add those like methodology together too? Okay, so it can help you like when we really identify it, okay, able to identify, and then we start to recover and then looking for what's the reason. Okay, so do we have any possible way, okay, to do that? Okay, also we can provide some appropriate training to the staff, and then for like preserving the evidence. So it's also can add to the instance response. Okay, so far it's the pretty easy topic, like in theory. So we talk about what's the disaster, and then how can we recover from the disaster. Okay, and then we give different type of planning. Okay, so those like recovery plan, and then we also cover what's the evidence like preservation. Okay, and then last is more important. How can we integrate the forensics to instant response? Okay, so we need to consider all these like idea and thinking. So it may help. So you will see that, for instance, they will play a really crucial, really critical role, like in the recovery and then as a follow-up. Um, here will be our last lecture, and then for the later, because it's meeting we break. I remember there's a meeting break, and then we will have final exam week. Okay, so I will as the same. Okay, so I will give you the a range of time so you can do it online. Okay, so it's the same because I don't like to like say, okay, because to me like below 60% or 50% is meaningless. So I will give you the basic the weight, the most question is an easy question that is the same. So you will know, okay. And then for the rest, you just answer the question. Okay. So mainly will be is the whole thing online. Okay. So you can take it anytime and try your best to compete, and because the time is really limited, because I always said that then or the last month and then I have to submit the grade, so I cannot extend any more for the final exam. So try your best. If you realize, okay, if you have some issue or like try your best to take the exam as soon as possible. Okay, if something issue really happened, please let me know and I'll try my best to help you. Okay, and that's it, and thank you.